Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for joining. Please start.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, I will start off with the Kirtan. Haribol. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. 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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha. Jaya Radha Madhava Madhava Radha. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha. Jaya Radha Dandar Krishna Radha Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय गौरनिता जय गौरनिता गौरनिता जय गौरनिता जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय सद्गोस्वामी गण जय सद्गोस्वामी गण सद्गोस्वामी गण जय सद्गोस्वामी जय गौरनिता जय गौरनिता गौरनिता जय गौरनिता जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जमशपाद परम स्फुरत्काचर स्तोत्र सुदासन श्री जन्म सभा चरण भक्ति धन श्री प्रपाद महाराज की स्कॉन संस्थापक श्री प्रपाद महाराज कृष्ण कृपामूर्ति श्री प्रपाद महाराज जगत गुरु श्री प्रपाद महाराज जमशपाद परम स्फुरत्काचर स्तोत्र सुदासन श्री जन्म भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय अनंत कोटि आचार्य वृंद की जय नमः श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन जय वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय गंगे मैम नमाय की जय तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रपाद ट्रांसलेट बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन all glories to assemble duties all glories to assemble duties all glories to assemble duties all glories to all glories Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. So welcome to all devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam session, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Krishna. So I will start off with the prayers. Om Agnana Timrandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shruta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunath Tanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataruvasha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Please repeat the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudhiraye Ashtaprayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today's verse is 4th canto, 29th chapter, 7th shloka. Brahad balam mano vidyad Ubhayendri yanayakam Panchalaha Panchavishaya Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Brihad Balam Manovidyad. Brihad Balam Manovidyad. Ubayendri Yanayakam. Ubayendri Yanayakam. Panchalaha Pancha Vishaya. Panchalaha Pancha Vishaya. Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Brihad Balam Manovidyad. Brihad Balam Manovidyad. Ubayendri Yanayakam. Ubayendri Yanayakam. Panchalaha Panchavishaya. Panchalaha Panchavishaya. Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Yanmadhye Navakam Puram. Word by word, meaning. Word by word, meaning. Translation purport done by Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Brihat Balam, very powerful. Manaha, the mind. Vidyat, one should know. Ubhayendriya, of both groups of senses. Nayakam, the leader. Panchalaha, the kingdom named Panchala. Pancha, 5. Vishayaha, sense objects. Yet, of which. Madhye, in the midst. Navakham, having 9 apertures. Puram, the city. Translation. The 11th attendant, who is the commander of the others, is known as the mind. He is the leader of the senses, both in acquisition of knowledge and in the performance of work. The Panchala kingdom is that atmosphere in which the 5 sense objects are enjoyed. Within that Panchala kingdom is the city of the body, which has 9 gates. The mind is the center of all activities and is described here as Brahad Bala, very powerful. To get out of the clutches of Maya, material existence, one has to control his mind. According to training, the mind is a friend and the enemy of the living entity. If one gets a good manager, his estate is very nicely managed. But if the manager is a thief, his estate is spoiled. Similarly, this material conditional existence, the living entity gives power of attorney to the mind, to his mind. As such, he is liable to be misdirected by his mind into enjoying sense objects. Srila Amrish Maharaj therefore first engaged his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. When the mind is engaged in meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, the senses are controlled. This system of control is called Yama. And this means subduing of the senses. One who can subdue the senses is called Goswami, but one who cannot control the mind is called Godasa. The mind directs the activities of the senses, which are expressed through different outlets, as described in the next verse. Hare Krishna. Om Gnanti Manadasya Gnananjana Shalaka Chakshurmiltamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna. So this is the chapter, 7th chapter, which is titled as the talks between Narada and King Prachina Barhi. So in the beginning of the chapter, Prachina Barhi is asking Narada Muni that whatever you have said, the allegorical statements, I'm not able to understand, appreciate clearly. Only those who are in perfect spiritual knowledge can understand. But since I'm totally attached to fruitive activities and all kinds of day-to-day affairs, that I'm not able to understand. So he is just humbly requesting Narada Muni to be more compassionate and give him a little more knowledge, little more assistance, so that he can completely assimilate this spiritual knowledge and he can put into practice. So then Narada Muni says that yes, Puranjana, you must understand that you are the living entity and you are transmigrating from one body to another body, which could be a 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg, 4 leg, many legs, and simply legless. So like this. So every birth you're taking and you are migrating. And and at the same time you are enjoying. Why this is happening is because of your enjoying mentality. So ultimately what he's trying to say is that if you leave this mentally enjoying mentality, then there is some hope. Otherwise, you'll be simply changing the material bodies. You might be a devotee, you might be chanting, you might be associated with some organization or doing a lot of spiritual activities. But if that sense enjoyment propensities are not there, and or completely devoid, only then you can attain the love of Godhead. Otherwise, it'll be just like any other life. You can be probably taking many lives in the same planet, earthly planet, or maybe elevated to different higher level planets. But still, the wherever you go, the propensity to enjoy is still there. So if a entity is conditioned to this enjoyment, now if he is always looking for some sense enjoyment, then there is no end. It just goes on and on. So if you have to attain the spiritual platform, you have to come out of this enjoying mentality. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mentioned very clearly that unless you become dasanu 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 dasa, so then only then you can be able to attain. Like even Prabhupada also mentions in the shloka, in the purport, that generally most of us are go dasas. We are completely surrendered to the ghosts, the senses. That means we are completely under their control, always trying to enjoy and always getting the benefit of these sense organs. So like this it is going on. But only one who can come to that platform of a Goswami, he is like even if he is living in any in a spiritual world, I mean in a higher planetary system or lower planetary system, wherever he lives or in earth, he is not affected. He is completely not affected by the senses, and he can easily win over, and then he can go back to his spiritual realm. So like this, this is a key thing. And then here also, when in this shloka, in the second shloka, it is mentioned 1 leg, 2 leg, and all that. So 1 leg is actually mentioned as the ghosts, which are seem to have 1 leg only. So you'll be wondering, what is this 1 leg? How it can be? We may not see here in this material world. Or maybe some animals or some could be there, like jellyfish. It has got, say, 1 tail or a 1 leg. That's a leg, but it is 1. So many other animals could be there which having 1 kind of, or some organisms, but generally this is referred to the ghosts. If suppose we have not got our if you have not got a proper death, the living entity doesn't go through a proper death. I mean, if sometimes, most of the times, if they die in accidents, and if they die suddenly due to some calamities, things like that, suddenly life is taken away because it's a flood happening, or suddenly a tempest or a lightning, like this. If these kinds of calamities happen, it is possible that the soul is not prepared to leave the body, but it has to leave the body because of the body is unable to survive. And then the soul has to leave. So it's a very dilemmatic situation where the soul is abruptly leaving the body, but it is not having it doesn't know where it has to go and settle. Where is the another body? Normally a body is prepared at the time of death, but if that is not there, then it is a very horrible situation where the living entity, the jiva, goes without bodiless, and then he keeps loitering here and there, and then it's a difficult situation, and then it is suffering, that jiva. And so that jiva will be looking for some weak entity, or a weak human being, or an animal, or whatever it is, and then it can get into that body and then take the body, and then, but unfortunately it is still trapped in that body. So it is trying to overpower that existing soul, whichever is there, atma, and then it plays havoc. Now we have seen so many cases where this kind of the devil, or the devil has entered, the pishachi has entered. We call that that the bhuta banmiti. ದೆವ್ವ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. So like this, so this another entity, another living soul, which is not having a body, has entered, and then it can wreak havoc, and then people will suffer so many things, depression, stress, all this will happen, and they will ultimately not be able to do their regular activities. So it's a very dangerous situation, so we have to be very cautious. So unless there is a spiritual association, unless there is a spiritual contact established by the jiva, it cannot come out of this situation. So that's why, I mean, Prabhupada also, when he was there, when, especially in the London, the place where Bhaktivedanta Manor is there, when they had to go, that place, that big mansion was, a palace was haunted by ghosts. I mean, it was said that, and then Prabhupada also felt that, that negative elements were there. Even as they had to enter the first time, enter the huge um, that palace, or that manor, the gates were locked actually. Gates were, they could not open the gates. There was some problem. In spite of with the key or the lock could not be opened. And there were so many opposing things were happening. So there was, because the ghosts were haunted were there, they didn't want these devotees to come, and especially like a pure devotee like Prabhupada to come. But Prabhupada was very determined. No, whatever it is, no, let us go. We know what to do. So he took all his devotees, and then they came, and then they started chanting. They started reciting Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all these prayers, and within few days, all the ghosts had escaped. I mean, they had just had to run off. So like that, and then it was converted, and they did all the rich, purificatory processes, and they revived that place. And even, for example, Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was there in his when he was as a doing his preaching activity, there was a place, Champaran, in Orissa, where there also it was where he was actually doing duty in that area. But people were afraid, and people were making a big hue and cry, because they had believed that there was a Brahma Bhuta ghost, Brahma Pishachi was there residing in that big tree. Generally, it stays in the trees like this. So it was there, and then whoever was passing by, it used to create havoc. It used to beat that person, or it used to haunt that person, and make life miserable. So that, because the jiva, the ghost wanted to enter into this body and then again want to enjoy. So this kind of a mentality. So it was haunting people, and it was harassing people. So people were afraid to go there and all that. So this Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to know that this is there. But then he told, don't worry, I will take care of this. So he started reciting Bhagavatam there for continuously for almost 2 months or 3 months. He recited, and then they did kirtan, all these things they did, and completely that the tree became became weak, fragile, and then it fell off. So that is the power, of holy names, and of course, pure devotees can do this, can eradicate such ill will and these kinds of bhuta preta. But for us, it may be very, very difficult aspect. I mean, even for us to believe, it will be very difficult. But if we keep chanting, if we keep doing our sadhana, then these things will not haunt us. So we have to be careful. So that way we can protect our soul. Then the two-legged animals are those, obviously the human beings. The three legs, there are so many three-legged animals, four-leg, multi-leg, like millipede, centipede, like that, or simply legless, maybe some bacteria or amoeba or something like that. So these are the bodies. So everything he's mentioning very clearly, or it could be serpents. So like this, these are the bodies which are there, and they are completely the jiva keeps going, loitering around in most of these. So now he says, the person I have described as unknown is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master and eternal friend of the living entity. Since the living entity cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead by material names, activities, or qualities, he remains everlastingly unknown to the conditioned soul. So this is the clue actually. So the only if you take the holy names and get associated with the holy names, only then the senses will be able to be in control, and we can easily get the belief, the faith, and also the inclination to take up spiritual activity. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult. It is not possible with our ordinary capacities that we can control these senses, or we can be in control of the situation, whatever the things demand. So like this, he keeps explaining, mentions about the requirement, what the living entity has to do, and how, in order to succeed in one's life, what is the prerequisites required. So while coming and telling about, he talked about the false ego, he talked about the intelligence, and now this shloka is talking about the mana. And in this it says, Brahad Balam Mano Vidyat. So this mind as a subtle organ is very, very strong, very obstinate. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, the 6:34, Arjuna says that in that shloka, correct? So he says that Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati bhalavat dhrinam tasyaham nigraham manye vairevasa duskaram. So this mind is very restless, chanchala, and then pramati, very strong, and then balavat, obstinate, turbulent. It is dhridam, very strong. So like this, it is not easy to control it. And in order to, if you have to control it, it is not possible. Simply, even worse than, like, if you are trying to control the wind. Probably even sometimes wind you can control. Actually, wind is also not controllable, but it is just like a metaphor giving, explaining that wind cannot be, first of all, can be held or controlled, because it's so fast. It may go up to 200 kilometers per speed when the hurricane and the cyclone comes. But in this shloka is telling that Arjuna is telling, I may even control the wind, but mind I cannot control, like that. So then Bhagavan also says, Krishna also says that, yes, asamshayam mahabaho, yeah, undoubtedly, Arjuna, mano durnigraha chalam abhyasena kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. So only, yes, I agree, that is very difficult, but with a lot of practice, abhyasa, and with vairagya, with a renounced mode of your activities. If you are in a renounced mode, then probably you can control. Of course, it requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of effort. So like this, here it is very clearly, it is mentioned that mind control will be possible only by this activity. So, and then Prabhupada also gives in this purport. So here the shloka itself talks, the 11th attendant, who is the commandant of others, is known as the mind. He is the leader of the senses, both in acquisition of knowledge and in performance of work. So both on the karmendriya and the gnanendriya. Karmendriya are the mouth, the speech, and then we have the hands, the legs, and the genitals and the rectum. So these are the karmendriya. And then as far as the panchendriya is concerned, we know that 2 eyes, the nose, the ear, the tongue, and the skin. So for all these things, the controller is the mind. The 11th, the 11th sense, which is a subtle sense, is the mind. And both of them are either acquiring knowledge or doing some activity. Completely it is engaged throughout. Even if the person is sleeping also, there is some activity going on. It could be dreaming, the mind may be still working, some the breathing process is going on. So like that, the activity is continuously happening. So the Panchala kingdom is that atmosphere which the 5 sense objects are enjoyed. So the availability of those the 5 sense objects the perceptuary objects like the power of taste, the power of smell, the power of sight, the power of feeling, or by the touch. So these are the sensory objects which are available for us around. So the surrounding atmosphere is called as the Panchala. Panchala is the kingdom. Actually, Gujarat is actually called the Panchala kingdom. And Draupadi actually came from this place, Panchal Naresh. She's a daughter of the Panchal Naresh. So like this, so this enjoyment is going on. And again, within this body, the Panchala kingdom, and in that kingdom, we have the body, that is the human being, and he has 9 gates. The 9 gates are basically the 2 eyes, the 2 nose, the 2 ears, the mouth, rectum, and the evacuating organ. So like this, it is mentioned. And Prabhupada says in the purport, to get out of clutches of Maya, material existence, one has to control his mind. Very, very important. But is it possible to control mind? Why Prabhupada is telling mind to control? Yeah, that comes further. We all know that it is difficult to control the mind. It is a futile attempt. But if you go to different practices, especially yogic practices, where Ashtanga Yoga, so many kriyas, and so many dhyana yoga people, dhyanis, so many of them, they want to control the mind. For them, they think that is the best thing. So they go into the dhyana. They go into this kind of a meditation process. But it is not going to be easy. Prabhupada says that anybody, people telling meditation, I will do this yoga, that yoga, I will do. For a few minutes, they will try to meditate, and they'll close. The moment they close the eyes, within few minutes, they'll be falling, dozing off. They'll only be sleeping and then enjoying their siesta, nothing else. So it's not so easy controlling the mind, because mind by nature is very fickle. It is built, it is by default, it is very restless. So how you can control the mind? But if a person uses the mind for the right purpose, and if he engages the mind in the right activities, in the right spiritual mood, then it can probably be controlled. In the sense that if you have a proper engagement, then the mind will not wither here and there. So that is why Prabhupada and all our acharyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everybody was stressing on this mind control aspect. Actually, more than mind control, it is actually the engagement of the mind. So as far as we're spiritually engaged, then there is no chance that even Maya can attack. That's what Prabhupada is also telling. Maya also will not affect the devotee. But he has to be very careful, guard the mind in such a way that mind is properly engaged, especially now in this Kali Yuga and this today's materialistic world, with so much of social media, so much of advertisement. Wherever you go out, wherever you are, seeing something, we are exposed to the outer world. This every second every minute there is a propensity to. There is a bombardment of this propensity to enjoy. So everybody wants to sell their products. They want to sell their services, and everybody is attracting the minds of people, and people are just getting caught. You have so many food eateries, you have so many cinema halls, multiplexes, malls, so many things, and these different activities that people are completely attracted to that. And even when it comes to, suppose somebody want to do Ashtanga yoga and control mind and all that, but even if they try to control, maybe temporarily they can do, but it cannot stay for long, because somehow or the other, if they don't have a real support system in terms of a spiritual association or a very strong foundation of spiritual values, they cannot control. They will fall off, because the contamination is so much in this material world that if you are in the office, you will get contaminated. If you are coming from the office, outside the office, and then coming towards home, you will get contaminated. In the home, maybe for some reasons, you might, your mind waver. You might want to watch something, something which is not actually a spiritual activity. Maybe because children is there or some relatives are there, friends are there, they want to watch something, so you are also forced to watch. So like this, it is every place is this in this contaminated mode. So that's what Prabhupada further says, that according to training, the mind is a friend and the enemy of the living entity. So the mind has got this quality that it can be, if you're how you engage it, you can probably use it. If you engage it for your right purposes, for a goodness cause, then it can be your friend. Otherwise, it can be your friend. So that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, sixth chapter, a lot about the mind. In that, it says, Bandhur Atmat Manastasya Yenatmaivatma Jidaha Anatmanastu Shatrutve Vartetatmaiva Shatruvat. So Bandhur Atma Manastasya. So for one, for Jiva Atma, who it can be a friend, Bandhur. Yenat Maivatma Jidaha. That means one who can engage his mind for the best of his abilities, for the mode of goodness. For him, it can be a friend. But it can be it can be the enemy for the one who is not using the mind properly. So only the person can conquer the mind if he is keeping the mind in a best of his association. And further, next shloka, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So like that is the quality of a pure devotee who is not affected by this mind's challenges. Like, for example, even Bhagavad Gita, if you see our Prabhupada, how wonderfully he has given, if you see the front picture, the cover of Bhagavad Gita as it is by Prabhupada, he has given a very, very wonderful picture. Most of you have seen. And that picture is actually Arjuna on the chariot, Krishna driving the chariot. So that is itself, that the whole picture itself gives the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And what is that we are supposed to do as living entities is mentioned here, and also in the Shastras also. I think it is in the Padma Purana. It is mentioned that how the whole our body and the relationship with the Lord and the senses is given. So it is said that the chariot is actually our body, the chariot, and the chariot is ridden by the 5 horses. The 5 horses are our senses, and then the horses are controlled by the ropes. So which are those ropes? The rope is actually the mind, and the driver is there, who is actually holding the rope and then taking the horses either to the left or to the center, or to the mode of goodness, or to the mode of passion, or mode to the ignorance. So he is the one who is actually taking. So who is that? He is the driver is the intelligence. And who is the passenger? Passenger is actually the soul who is sitting. Arjuna is actually the passenger. Krishna is actually the super soul, and he is taking us. So now, if the intelligence, if the soul gives the proper instruction to the driver, please go in this path, go to 26th Avenue, New York. I want to go to ISKCON temple. Then it will probably take you there. Go to Ramanreti temple. Yes, Ramanreti Road. I want to visit ISKCON Vrindavan. Yes, so it might take. Because the driver has to listen to the orders of the soul. And then the instrument also is controlled. Then the intelligence will control the ropes, and according to the ropes, if the rope is held very tight towards the driver, the horses will go slow. But if you let loose the ropes, then the horses can run. It can canter very fast. So like this, the instructions of the driver is very important for the ropes. So now, if the intelligence is taking properly, then he can control the mind. And once the mind is in control, then the senses are in control. So this is a wonderful example, pictorial allegoric example of how we need to drive our life, our this body. If it has to go in the proper way, how it has to be there. So that way, this whole subtle organs of this mind, false intelligence and false ego are all very, very essential, and how we need to practice, put into practice. And again, further, Bhagavad Gita, the shloka 3, the third chapter, there is also a shloka which talks about what is the hierarchy of this mind. Yeah, Indriya ni parani ahur, Indriyabhyo yo manaha, manasastu para buddhi, yo buddhe paratastu saha. It's very clearly mentioned that higher than the senses, or the senses are considered very higher. Senses are considered higher. Param ahu, param ahu, parani ahu, indriyani, the 5 senses. But higher than the senses are the manam, or the mind. And higher than the mind is the intelligence, para buddhi. Yo buddhi hai para tu saha. But higher than the intelligence is actually the soul, or actually the ego. The ego is the one, which is closely linked with the soul. So that way, so it is said that theoretically it is said that the soul is the very higher. I mean, it can control all of this. It can control the intelligence, it can control the mind, it can control the senses. But in practically speaking, it is not going to happen. It is very, very difficult. Actually, the senses are overpowering. It is clouding the whole process, and even the self also gets succumb to the attractions, and then the senses are enjoying, and it'll go into chaos. So like this, it's very much. That's why Rupa Goswami also mentioned very clearly in his teachings that mana Shri Krishna niveshaya, yena kena prakarena, from however possible you use, by hook or crook, I don't care, but you please keep your mind focused on the Krishna. So like that. And even Bhagavatam, Ambrish Maharaj also, Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. The whole shloka talks about how we can engage our senses, how the mind has to be focused on the lotus feet of the Lord. So like this, everyone, top exalted devotees are telling this. And then Padma Purana also says that Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyo na Jatachit. You have to try to keep your, engage your mind. Remember, Smartavya, Vishnu, always Krishna, Krishna's activities, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's holy name, Krishna's Abhushan, Krishna's Vesha, Krishna Bhushana, everything, whatever Krishna's is there, his dress, his ornaments, or his glory, just keep remembering. The more you remember him, then you will be able to concentrate, and then you'll not forget Krishna. Vismartavyam na jatuchit. At any point of time, you'll not forget Krishna. So that's why the slogan that always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. We keep mentioning that. And then what happens? Sarve vidhi nisheda syur etiyor evasa kinkaraha. So Rupa Goswami says that the moment you do that activity, control your mind and place it on Krishna's lotus feet, then all other things, rest of all the rules and regulations, vidhi, nisheda, and restrictions, all your, so that you engage yourself in spiritual activity. You leave away all unwanted activities and do spiritual activities. Like even it is said that so once these two are done, then all these things will become like a servants, kinkara. Your senses, everyone will become like senses, and simply they will follow the mind. Like even in the surrender, 6 stages of surrender. So there also it is mentioned very clearly what all you have to do and what you are not supposed to do. So yeah, so like this it is mentioned. And then Raghunath Das Goswami has written Manashiksha. This 19 shlokas are there, which is actually talking about the real, how to practice this mind control, how to engage this mind. and it's a very deep philosophical subject. Actually, ordinary souls like us, we cannot really grasp it. It's very deep. In fact, it has very solid philosophical strains. And I just tried to read sometime back, and we tried to do that exercise. Even in Bahrain also, we wanted to do some study, but it is not possible. Just one shloka if I take, it's we are nowhere near, actually, that kind of a high philosophical treatise this Manas Siksha is. But again, as we are in the same, the Rupanugas, and we are as the Prabhupada follower of the Prabhupada's all these teachings, and we are in his same parampara, we just have to make some attempt somehow that whatever possible, we should try to do this. So in that first two verses is actually taking the blessings of all the acharyas, guru, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all that is there. Then the shloka comes like this. The third one is actually talking about the mind's engagement. Just read the translation. Oh mind, please listen. If you desire to reside in Vraja with raga, birth after birth, that means you should become a Raganuga devotee, Raganuga Bhakta. Transcend, whether you should have a spontaneous loving relationship. Birth after birth, no problem. You can still be a devotee. And if you wish to directly serve the youthful divine couple, then you must constantly and specifically meditate upon and offer respect with love unto Swarup Damodar, Sri Rupa, his brother Sanatana, and their associates. So like this, it's a very deep subject matter. How Raghunath Goswami is stressing that if you have to get that exalted position and attain the spiritual birth or spiritual transcendental happiness, then we should engage our mind in that. And then in the fourth one, oh mind, reject the prostitute of mundane talk who steals one intelligence. Do not listen to talk about mukti, which is like the tigress who will completely devour your very existence. You must even abandon any attachment towards Lakshmipati. So even Lakshmipati, even Vaikunta aspiration also we should not consider. Because there is so much of our reverence and Ashwarya Bhav that one may get easily carried away, a jiva. And so he says that any attachment towards Lakshmipati which leads you to Vaikunta, you should simply worship Radha Krishna in Vraja, who will award you the gem of attachment for them. So this much high quality of prema is being, Krishna prema is being advocated in this shlokas. So it's a very exalted topic, this Manas Shiksha. And we are actually helplessly we are doing some kind of a sadhana, but we cannot imitate these kinds of Goswamis. But of course, at the same time, we have to take some little bit baby steps and then try to do. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he has written that wonderful bhajan also. Mana, dushta mana tumi kishera Vaishnava. Oh my God. There also he is lambasting the Vaishnava. You call yourself as a Vaishnava and you are thinking you are a devotee, you have become a devotee, and then you're telling dushta mana, your mind is very bad, very contaminated. You are not able to control your mind, and you're thinking that you are doing your seva and that too unto the great lordships, Radha Krishna. No, what you're doing is just a act of duplicity, or maybe you're acting, that's all, but you're not actually a real controlling the mind and doing the seva. You're not eligible, you're not qualified to serve the Supreme Lord. So like that, he's mentioning. And there also the the lyrics are very, very deep, in the sense that it's not, it's beyond our capacity to do that kind of a practice. So it says, Dushtamana, tumi kisara Vaishnava, Pratishtara tare, Nirjanera ghare, Tava Ari Nama, Kevala Kaitava. So like this, he is lambasting. So what does it mean? Oh, wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnava do you think you are? Your pretensions are showing the chanting Lord Hari name in a solitary place is only for sake of attaining the false prestige of worldly reputation. It is nothing but pure hypocrisy. So what you are doing just for name, fame, and some reputation, that's all. And you might be doing it for just hypocrisy. You're actually thinking one thing and then doing something else. Maybe you're thinking that you want a spiritual association, but you actually want material association, but you're praying for you're uttering, I want a spiritual association. So like this, it's a very, very hypocrisy, bound with a lot of hypocrisy. So like that, he's telling, such materialistic prestige is as disgusting as the stool of a hog. Do you not know that this is a mere illusion cast upon by the potency of Maya? What is the value of contemplating day and night your plans for enjoying wealth and women? All these things are only temporary. So it's the more I read, actually we feel ashamed that we cannot stand this kind of a wordings actually. So like this, it is lambasting every time. But what to do? I mean, that is our pitiful condition. As sadhaka, we have to keep on imbibing those qualities, and then read these kinds of literature, and then try to follow as much as possible, so that we minimize our materialistic propensities and increase our spiritual sadhana, increase our attachment and love for getting into the real mode of bhakti. Only then, slowly there will be some progress. Otherwise, it is going to be very difficult. Even day-to-day sadhana also will become so difficult for devotees. Just to complete the 16 rounds is like a Herculean task. So we have to mold our lives in such a way that we're able to do that. And the best part for doing this chanting process is in the early morning times, Brahma Muhurta times. And if not, at least by 8 o'clock, we should finish off our rounds. And then the whole day can be more pleasant, and you can concentrate more on other activities. Even your material life, working condition also will become quite favorable. So, yeah, I was remembering about this shloka, Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Vivarjanam. So, this is the Sharanagati sloka. In that, it is very clearly mentioned, Anukulasya Sankalpa. So, whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, we should take a vow and we should try to practice it. Pratikulasya Vivarjana, which is not going to be favorable for your improving your spiritual sadhana practices, you should leave it. You should try to avoid it. So, like this, there are so many instructions, so many teachings that our acharyas have given. And Prabhupada also keeps saying this, that wherever the sun, just like the sun, where the sun is there, Maya cannot be there, darkness cannot be there, it will just be vanished. So like that, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andhakara. So where Krishna is there, it's like a Surya. So when Krishna is there, there can be no Maya, there can be no darkness. Yaha Krishna taha nahi Maya adhikar. Wherever that Krishna is there, then there is no Mayas, cannot live there. So like this, so this is the shloka he keeps referring. So we have to create that kind of a atmosphere first of all, and then the whole family can enjoy this bhakti. Susukam kartum abhyayam. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. We have to make our practices, our environment in such a way it is conducive for spiritual practice. And the yogis, so-called yogis and all that, they so many asanas they do, so many activities they engage in, control mind, control the senses, all that they try to do, but it is all very dry. The dry philosophy will not help, because the by default, the senses are there to enjoy. You cannot control the senses to senses to say that I want you to control. No, somehow the senses will overpower. So the best thing is that you engage your mind. You cannot. That's what Prabhupada says. You cannot create a vacuum, or you cannot create a artificially that voidism. Like Buddhists, they want to create a voidism, and nothing is there. Everything is void. And then Shunyavadi, and then they want to achieve happiness. It is impossible. Arey Baba, where is this? Unless your mind gets some satisfaction, engagement, there is no happiness. So that engagement has to go into the real spiritual cause. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita we have all the answers. Actually, one more secret shloka is there, which is actually giving, which is talking about 2.59. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Raso varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So the senses, the propensity to enjoy is always there, but you have to nigraha, you have to control it, you have to engage, or you have to divert that engagement to a spiritual cause, or to a better cause, or to Krishna's service. So please Krishna's senses, then you are saved. Otherwise you are doomed. So like this. And because that, even if you suppose a person is suffering from diabetes, and then he has to control eating sugar, okay? So he will for some time he might control then when he is in the hospital, then he comes out, and then he in the normal life he want to lead, but he is attracted by sugar everywhere, wherever, sweets, this, that, so many things. So he may get attracted, and again he may consume it, and he may fall sick. So now what this sloka is telling is that what is important is not just controlling the desire to, controlling the propensity to eat, but you have to control and engage your mind in such a way that you will not get a taste. You'll completely desireless of not enjoying it. You should come to that state where you are realized in the sense that, no, if I take this, it will be a poison for me. So like that, you should drive out that desire, that raso urjam. So once that you drive out, you take out that quality of enjoying propensity in that in that object, then you can be able to control. And that is possible only if you engage your senses and you get that knowledge by the proper Guru Parampara, that this is the right activity, this is the wrong activity, and then you follow it. Like how when Prabhupada, when we had to come take for initiation, the first thing is the 4 regulative principles, and in that no tea, no coffee, no onion, no garlic. So now people are bewildered. Even so-called so many sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, so many highest exalted devotees, I mean not exalted devotees, but who are in good practice, they are not able to control these urges of taking. Every time they are addictive to tea, coffee, or they don't, they may take, and they are seeing their fall down. So they're not. But when it comes to ISKCON, Prabhupada made it very clear that unless you do this, you first have to control this. So you have to, that desire to enjoy this tea, coffee should go away. Only then you can be in a platform. Otherwise, it is impossible. So like this, there are so many aspects about mind control, and engagement. Ultimately, the answer is param drishpa nivartate. So once you get a higher consciousness, a higher taste, so that you should find, and that taste is in Krishna consciousness, and that is how once you engage in that, then there is no question of suffering. Hare Krishna. So I'll just wind up with one song, which one bhajana kirtana, which Purandaradasa has written, which is actually very, very appropriate. So he says, Hendati prana hinduti. So he says, Hendati. So Hendati means what? Is the wife. So he's referring here, Hendati. Hendati prana hinduti. You are making my life miserable. Dodda konda koti ante kuni kuni sutti. You are making me run here and there, from one branch to another. Koti ante. Koti is monkey. Monkey is always, loitering here and there, jumping from one branch to another, doing all sorts of nonsense activities. So like that, you're also, you wife. He's blaming the wife. He's telling the wife that you're also making me. Hottare elutti ಹೊರಗೆ ತಿರುಗಾಡುತ್ತಿ. Early morning you get up and then you want to start, go here and there, go for a roaming around. ಹೊತ್ತು ಹೋಯಿತು ಭತ್ಯ ತಾರುನಿತಿ. So the time is getting over. Oh, my time has come. I'm feeling hungry. Give me food. I want to eat this. I want to drink that. I want to enjoy. ಉತ್ತಮ ಗುರು ಹಿರಿಯರ ಮಾತು ಮೀರುತ್ತಿ. Good words of advice and words of advice from the elderly people and all the saintly people. You are not listening to them. You are just overpowering them. And then mrityu devati ante maneyolagirutte. And like death, mrityu devati, you are always residing in me. Always, anytime, I may feel the pain of death. I feel like dying. That kind of a feeling you are giving me. So he's blaming the wife. But do you think he's actually blaming the wife? And if all wives, all women folk will listen to this, they will start bombarding. They will blast us. Oh, what you're talking? You're not like that. You are like that. They will probably pounce on us. So, but actually, what is the inner reference he's giving is that this hendati or the wife is actually compared to the mind. So he's telling mind, you are making my life miserable. You're getting up early in the morning and you're asking so many demands, because mind is the source of all the desires and it's the storehouse of all the desires. You want this, I want that. You get up early morning, you want to roam around here and there. You don't want to listen to any of the seniors' words, saintly people words. No chanting, no Bhagavad Gita. Like this, you want to enjoy, and then you're haunting me like death. So that actually is actually referring to the mind. So like this, great acharyas have given. So and then finally he says that ದೊರೆ ಸಿರಿ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಸ್ಮರಿಸದೆ ದುರಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಗುರಿಯಾಗಿ ನೀನು ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತಿ. So unless you take the shelter of Sri Purandara Vitala, if you are not remembering him, smarisutta, then duritakke. Durita means to misery. You will lead to misery and you will suffer. So like that is concluding Kirtan. Hare Krishna. I think, time is up. I've taken much more today. So with this, I will end today's session. If anyone has any realization, any questions, any queries, comments, please let me know. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Thank you very much for wonderfully explaining how strong the mind is and how important is it to control the mind from various references and also from our sampradaya and other sampradayas. Especially the point around how to see that if one is overpowered by mind, it is almost equal like one is haunted by a ghost. Thank you for that point which can be contemplated. Devotees can unmute themselves to share any points, or if they have any questions, please ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat pranams. Thank you for wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Aniruddha Seva, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam. Krishna Pridas here, Prabhu. Thank you very much for wonderful class, Prabhu.
Hare Bol.
As usual, you actually nailed upon the point again and again with the different examples from our sampradaya, from the most favorite Purandara Dasa Prati.
Hare Bol.
So probably whatever the solution that are offered for engaging the mind is also times it is
Prabhu, can you repeat it, Prabhu?
Yeah. Actually, Prabhupada says that we have to engage our mind in the service of the Lord, so that the mind will not bewilder us, and we have to study the scriptures so that our intelligence will be purified, and we can actually get the directions. The mind can get the direction from intelligence. But even when we are engaged in those sevas, which are supposed to be purifying the mind or engaging the mind, even in those sevas as well, the mind is actually causing such a havoc. So how to really progress, Prabhuji? So that's why you are a very senior devotee, and
I actually don't know the answer because I'm also in the same stage that the mind is like restless. That definitely it is a chanchala. It keeps on going here and there. Like as you rightly said, we are all engaged in our spiritual practice. We want to sit and chant. We want to do some seva, but mind keeps going hither and there. So some thoughts keep coming, unwanted thoughts. This is quite there. I mean, definitely in the beginning stages, when we start our spiritual journey, I think we face this kind of a problem. It keeps coming and coming and coming. But if you probably look back from what you are 10 years or 15 years back and what you are today, probably that would have subsided. I'm not saying completely gone, but would have subsided. So that means that by contemplating, that by just making up our mind, and also praying to the Lordships that please engage me in your pleasing your senses, Hari samsiddhim haritoshnam, to please your senses and your Lord, my Lord. So at least by praying, maybe that quality has that propensity would have come down, and we are maybe in some stage of some better situation. Maybe 10 years, 15 years it will take. So like this, there is definitely this progress is there. It is not that it is not there. Of course, Guru's mercy and Vaishnava's mercy is there. But like as you said, more than anything, we also have to, from our side, we have to make that endeavor. So that endeavor is very important. Even despite the endeavor, maybe we are still suffering. We are still not able to control. But Acharya say that doesn't matter. There is a shloka. I'm not able to recollect that shloka. But if that happens, that you are deviating, but again, you please bring back your mind. You bring it back, and then you again concentrate. So this is what is the quality that we have to practice. That it may go here and there, but you have to bring it back. But one very important thing, what I have in my own practice have understood is that how much we are exposed to the outer world. See, okay, you are in the temple, you are doing your practices very nicely. You are completely in a very, a very closed atmosphere, and devotees are there, and your mind is also in a very peaceful situation, not agitated, not attracted. So it's quite, it's sublime. But the moment you come out, and then, that's why Acharyas have said, if you have to control your mind, you have to see what you are actually doing when you are alone. So wonderfully, it has been mentioned that when you're alone, what you're doing, that will determine your status of your mind. And your practice your bhakti sadhana will depend on what you're doing when you're in association of devotees. So it's a diverse end actually. One is you're alone, and one when you are together with lot of devotees. When you are with lot of devotees, if you try to be isolated, then you're gone. If you're thinking something else, then that's it. You're not in the right place. At the same time, when you're alone in the home or in your office or something, what you're doing, what is your mind doing, what is your activity you're doing, that will determine your sadhana when you go to the temple and when you're associating with the devotees. And what you're doing in the association of devotees will determine what you are going to do when you are going to be alone. So this is the secret of our spiritual practice, that we have to cultivate our activities and mold in such a way that mind, intelligence, policy, everything will be as much as possible be able to be in a very measured way of doing things, spiritual activities. Like Bhagavad Gita also says that like how the tortoise withdraws its senses and how it concentrates when there is an attack of an enemy. So the moment you come across something, or some moment you see that there is some Maya is going to attack you, immediately you have to withdraw. So these are some of the small tricks which have been learned or have heard. And then I'm just trying to make a I'm not able to practice 100%, or I'm not able to even practice to 1%, but that endeavor should be there. Yes, this is how we have to control. This is what we have to do. If you do this, this is going to be the result, end result. So better I avoid this. So like this, we keep on endeavoring, and probably one fine day, Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, all of the acharyas will probably help us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. I think the theme of today's lesson itself is endeavor from our side. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
So,
thank you.
And one very important point which Prabhupada has mentioned here in the purport. So he says, similarly, in his material condition existence, the living entity gives the power of attorney to his mind. What is it? So the power of attorney is the moment. See, we can see, you read 10 times, you'll probably, every sentence will make a meaning out of it. So actually, I wanted to say this, the GPA, power of attorney holder. So the mind is the power of attorney holder. So we may have a big, Atma, we may have a big ego, all these things may be there, intelligence, everything is there. But actually the power of attorney whom you have given, that you have to be careful.
Very nice statement, Prabhu. Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Wonderful, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful, Prabhu.
Hari,
And
Hari.
topic in the morning, I think in the current world, there are so many gadgets, so many attractions. I think it's ultimately the mind control, which is very important. And with the association, I think we can do. Otherwise, it's not even one day we miss the association finished.
Yeah, Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yes, Mother. Hari Bol.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
See,
Prabhuji.
yeah, somehow I'm seeing only 18 devotees on the Zoom. The devotees have to, somehow we have to influence the devotee, make them attend the classes. Now, 1 hour in a day they should spare for the Bhagavatam, because it is so sublime, and this is actually the this is the power of association. This is actually the important time. Either you spend in the temple or in the Zoom or whatever it is, wherever you are. But the this strength has to improve. We cannot such a huge congregation. We cannot have just about 20-30 devotees attending the class. I mean, this is very, very important. They have to have their spiritual practice in place. Very important that's why it said Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam, 1 hour at least, because otherwise in our own capacity we cannot do. If you want to sit after you come from the office, you want to read scripture, we have tried so many times, it is not possible. We cannot, we can do probably, but in a concentrated effort we cannot be able to do. But suppose this 8 to 9 is spent in a very judicious way, if we concentrate and if we make it a practice. So this again is a mind control aspect, that we make it a point, follow the time, and that way we can progress. So you have to influence the devotees that they attend at least one class in a day, and get real happiness. Of course, Mangalarti we should start, but everybody we cannot be able to do Mangalarti and but at least, because this is all the sangas of our bhakti, where the real happiness lies in this. So if you have to experience that real happiness, Param Drishta Nivartate, you have to do. But of course, it's all baby steps. Everyone has their own lives to handle, families, all that is there, parents, children, all that is there. But of course, we have to bring in some kind of or maybe in Bahrain we used to have attendance register for attending Mangalarti. You have to sign everybody who comes. Classes register, attendance register. So this attendance will make the person, he may feel guilty. I could not attend. Let me attend. My signature is not there, or like this, some kind of a device or some mechanism we should have it. Then we can have a wonderful, including all the members, everybody for that matter should come. They may have different classes, but one class for one temple, one congregation should be there, where all of them meet. Like a Sunday feast is there, which is a physical association, and virtual meet should be there, where all of us meet and we exchange the aspects, points, because there's so much. Each one has got their own understanding, their own realization, and everything is coming from the shastras. It's a wholesome. It's a wholesome meal for any sadhaka. So each one coming from different backgrounds will bring his experience or bring his what is acquired, and then it is being discussed in this sessions. So we can have an all-round development. It's very important. Hare Krishna. I think I'm speaking too much.
Hare Krishna. Aniruddha Seva, Prabhu. Thank you for a wonderful class. Can we get this instruction daily basis, Prabhu?
Hari Hari Bol.